All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down this book, Die with Zero, by Bill Perkins. And it's a pretty radical philosophy, right? It basically flips everything we've been taught about saving money on its head. And it does it all for one simple reason: to help you get the absolute most out of your life.
You know that old fable, right? The ant and the grasshopper. The ant is the hero, working his tail off all summer, saving up, while the grasshopper just messes around, plays his fiddle, and then, whoops, winter comes and he's in big trouble. The moral always seems so clear: work hard, save for later. But Perkins comes along and asks this brilliant question. Yeah, but what about the ant? Seriously, if all he ever does is work, when does he actually get to play?
And that right there, that's the big problem this whole book is about. We're all told to be the ant, you know? Save, save, save for this future that, let's be honest, isn't even guaranteed. And what happens? Well, this constant grind to pile up money can actually make you poor in a totally different way. You end up with a poverty of experience. So, to really get a grip on what it costs us to save too much, Perkins introduces this idea he calls life energy. And look, this isn't just about minutes on a clock or dollars in a bank. It's the total, finite, you can't get it back supply of hours you have to be alive. Think about it. Every single hour you work for money, that's a piece of your life energy that's gone. Poof, forever.
Okay, so this is where that whole life energy thing goes from being this abstract concept to something, well, kind of shocking. Perkins actually puts a number on it. That number is 6,646. I know, it sounds totally random, but it tells a massive story about how we work.
So what is 6,646? Well, that's how many hours an average person might work just to earn money they never even get to spend, money they die with. In the book, he calculates that out, and it's something like 2.5 years of working 50-hour weeks. Just let that sink in for a second. Years of your life gone, working for money you never use. It's basically like working for free. What an incredible waste of that precious life energy we were just talking about.
So, all of this forces you into a huge mental shift, right? The real goal isn't just to have a fat bank account. The goal is to take that money, which is really just your stored up life energy, and turn it into a rich life. So, what exactly is a rich life? Well, according to Perkins, this is the most important transaction you'll ever make. You're not just earning and saving. No, you're trading that money for your life. And the way you measure that life isn't by the number in your retirement account. It's measured by the sum of your experiences, all the memories, the adventures, the people, everything you collect along the journey. And get this, Perkins says you should almost think about it like a video game. Every cool experience you have, whether it's big or small, gives you experience points. So maybe a weekend camping trip gets you a few points. But that backpacking trip across Europe, that's a huge score, a massive level up. The whole point of the game is to rack up as many of those points as you can every single year. But it gets even better. See, an experience isn't just a one-and-done thing. Perkins has this brilliant term for it, the memory dividend. It's like this: every time you remember that trip or tell a story about it or even just look at a photo, that original experience is paying you back. It's like an investment that pays dividends for the rest of your life. And that's exactly why when you have these experiences is so important. There's this great story in the book about a guy named Jason. He literally took a loan from a loan shark so he could go backpacking in Europe when he was in his 20s. And looking back, he says it was a bargain because you couldn't pay him enough to do that now, sleeping in a crappy hostel bunk bed with 20 other people. The point is, some adventures have an expiration date. You're just not going to get the same experience points from that trip when you're 50 as you would at 22. So you see, spending money on an experience, that's not just blowing cash. It's making an investment. And just like with financial investments, the earlier you get in, the better. You give those memory dividends more time to compound, to grow, and to make your whole life richer. Okay, so this all leads to the big one, the most controversial, most provocative idea in the whole book. And it goes like this: if the whole point of money is to have experiences, and, well, you can't exactly have experiences when you're dead, then any money you have left over when you die is a failure. It's wasted potential. It's life energy you never converted. So, the only logical conclusion? Your goals should be to die with zero. I know, that sounds crazy. But before you dismiss it, just look at what people actually do. The data is pretty clear. For most of us, our net worth doesn't go down when we retire. It keeps going up. People are still piling up money well into their 70s and 80s at the exact same time their health is declining and they can't really enjoy it anymore. It really makes you wonder, what on earth are they waiting for?
And this isn't just a feeling. The numbers are stark. The median net worth for American households actually peaks for the 75 and older crowd. That's not a picture of people living it up in their golden years, is it? It's a picture of people who are still saving, probably out of habit, maybe out of fear, way, way past the point where that money can bring them the most joy. So let's just be super clear here. The goal isn't to be broke and desperate on your deathbed. Not at all. It's about having a smart, deliberate plan to turn all that money you worked so hard for into the things that actually make a life rich, the experiences. It's about making sure none of that effort, none of that life energy goes to waste. Okay, but let's be real. The second I say die with zero, I know what you're thinking. But what if I run out of money, right? It is the number one fear, the one that makes us all hoard cash we'll probably never touch. And it's a totally fair question. But the book makes a really strong case that it's a solvable problem. We just have to get specific about what we're actually afraid of. There's mortality risk. That's the risk of dying too soon. That's what life insurance is for, to protect your family. But the fear we're wrestling with here is different. It's longevity risk. The risk of living too long and outliving your savings. And here's the key thing to understand. That longevity risk, it's not some big, scary monster hiding under the bed. It's basically a math problem. A solvable one. You don't have to protect yourself by just over-saving for decades and sacrificing your best years. You can handle it with smart financial planning, using tools like annuities that are literally designed to give you an income for as long as you live. So the path here isn't about being reckless or irresponsible. Far from it. It's about being incredibly intentional. It's about handling that risk, which is real, but solvable, without letting the fear of it completely take over and stop you from, actually living your life. Really, it all boils down to three big shifts in how you think. Number one, you have to actively choose experiences over just mindlessly piling up more cash. Number two, you got to invest in those experiences early when you're young to get the biggest possible payoff from those memory dividends. And number three, you need a real plan, a plan where you spend the most when you're healthy and able, with a clear goal of wisely and thoughtfully bringing that balance down to zero over your lifetime.
And so that leaves us with one last question, and this one's really for you. Because this isn't just some spreadsheet strategy, right? It's a strategy for your life. So when you think about your own life, your own finite supply of life energy, what is it? What are the experiences you keep pushing off to someday? A someday that might not ever get here. The real question is, what will you stop delaying?